Hey mamas, Ayo here. Today we'll be exploring yoga poses that you can take to relieve pregnancy symptoms. And this video in particular explores aches, pains, and varicose veins. So if you've been experiencing backache or lower abdominal ache or swelling hands, feet, aching calves, ankles, any of that stuff, this video is for you. As always, check in with your doctor to make sure that you're cleared for practice, and then let's jump on in.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yoga, Pre-Natal, Yoga, Pre-Natal, Yoga, Pre-Natal, say okay.
I'm standing here today on my mat, and you can see that my practice space is fully loaded with props. Now, I'm a big believer that you don't really need any fancy props in order to get a good yoga practice in, but it does help to have a handful of blankets or pillows or cushions, something nearby to help modify each pose for your body. So I've outlined 5 different symptoms that come under the category of aches, pains, varicose veins, and for each one, I'll be walking us through 2 or maybe 3 poses that hopefully will provide some relief. And we'll start out with the one that seems ubiquitous. It's the most common. It's low back pain or low back discomfort and what we can do for it. So one of the most classic yoga poses is downward facing dog. And this is the first thing that can provide a lot of relief for low back pain. If you're looking for a more supported version, you can already start out by placing your hands on the wall. I'm going to demonstrate down dog at the wall. You can also have down dog on a chair. So we're placing our hands at about shoulder height. You can begin to walk your hips back away from your hands. Take a full breath in, and then as you exhale, we're just releasing the upper body and pressing hips away from hands. And that's it. This is down dog at the wall. So let's breathe here. We're going to take about 4 or 5 breaths. And for anyone who's just not sure what a classic down dog looks like, I'll also demonstrate that. You can place hands on mat, stepping feet back, sending hips away from hands, and breathing here, just creating that sense of elongation. For another 4. And breathing 3. For another 2. And breathing 1. So we begin to walk our feet toward our hands, especially if your hands are on that wall. Inhale, roll up to standing. You can bend the knees slightly, look up, and exhale, look in front of you. So supported poses are extra helpful when it comes to low back achiness and pain. So again, that could be down dog at the wall. It could also be down dog in your partner's arms, where you wrap your hands over their shoulders and just take that same hips back, shoulders forward sense of relief and release. So the second pose that we're going to take for low back relief is down on our mat. Let's sit on down, and we're going to take a pose called supported camel. Now, classically, camel pose is standing on our knees with our shins and our feet flat, and our hands go all the way back to our heels. 1, 2, bop, bop, looking up. But in pregnancy, that sometimes can feel like too much, or even not in pregnancy. So if you're experiencing low back ache, take your hands, place them so that the heel of your hand is on your low back, so that your fingers are by the tops of your glutes in this kind of very supported position called supported camel. Inhale, open the chest, and exhale, just release the head back and look up, and we'll breathe here. Breathing another 4. And breathing another 3. If at any point you feel neck discomfort, bring your chin down toward your chest. Breathing another 2. And breathing another 1. Inhale, bring your shoulders back in line over your hips. And exhale, release your hands, and you can come to sit on down. Now, the third pose that we'll explore today for low back relief is child's pose, which is such a sweet one. So if you're working with blankets today, you can actually put a stack of blankets, pillows, bolster, whatever you got at home in front of you. Widen your knees to make space for baby. And we're sitting on our heels. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can put a blanket between your sit bones and the heels, or between the front of your foot and the blanket. Full breath in, and as we exhale, we're just gonna kind of lean forward. So I'm gonna open my knees even more. We're like at due date today. So I got a lot of belly going on. And I'm just gonna ease my chest onto the blankets. And so this is a nice supported child's pose. Now, what do the blankets do? It just creates a little bit more space and lift so that no part of my tummy feels compressed against the mat. So breathing here, your arms can be long, your chest can begin to release as you breathe. If there's anybody at home with you, then maybe gently you can even have them take a hand and just very, very gently traction the low back down, drawing tailbone down, just in a very gentle way, but that also creates a lot of release in the low back. For another 3. And breathing 2. Now one more full deep breath here. And with your inhale, you can begin to walk your hands back toward your body. And with your exhale, to bring your knees back together and gently place the blanket to the side. Or we're about to take a seated stretch, so you can always choose to sit up on your blankets. Now this brings us to the second category. What do you do when you're experiencing leg cramps? So we're going to start out with a seated calf stretch. Generally, any stretch you do that's going to elongate, release, bring circulation to the backs of your legs will provide relief. And a little tip, if you're experiencing leg cramping, we don't want to point our feet, point our toes, but we do want to flex. Generally, flexing will provide more relief, and pointing may engage those muscles and encourage them to tighten up or spasm. So we have that foot in a nice flex. So let's elongate your right leg, left knee open to the side, inhale, arms up, and exhale, just tip a touch forward. Breathing here, full deep breaths. For another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. And breathing 1. Inhale, sit up tall, and exhale, switch between the legs, lengthening your left leg, bending your right knee. Inhale, arms and eyes up, and exhale, fold forward. Full deep breaths here. Another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. And breathing 1. Inhale, sit up tall, and exhale, come to a cross-legged position. Now, a note on how long we're holding these poses. In this practice, in this video, I'm just cueing us for about 4 or 5 breaths for each pose. This is so we get a sense of the posture in our body and can start to build a sort of familiarity and muscle memory, and also just already now gain the benefits of the practice. But if you're experiencing a particular symptom, and if you're enjoying a particular pose, rather than staying in the pose for 4 or 5 breaths, you could stay there for 4 or 5 minutes if that feels good. So just listen to your body and make your practice your own. Now, there's more things we can do with leg cramping. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come to kind of kneel on our knees. And we're just tucking our toes under. So toes are tucked under, and you can kind of sit back on your heels, and this is the pose. Toes curled under, a nice stretch for the backs of the calves by the ankles. You can rest your hands on your knees, roll your shoulders back, and breathe for 4. And breathing 3. This one feels real good right now. for 2. One more full deep breath. Now, depending on how steady your balance is, we're gonna stand up in a moment. You could rock your weight back and then just shoot on up to standing. Or if that's not feeling so possible for your balance right now, I feel ya. Come up to stand on your knees. Place one foot on the mat. Take a moment, take a breath, and then begin to press up to standing with the other foot. So even with transitions, choose what's right for you. Now, the last pose we're going to take that helps with leg cramps is extending your right foot forward and just bending your back left knee. And you can place your hands on your thighs and tip your chest slightly forward. And this might feel really nice, a nice stretch in the backs of your legs. We'll breathe here. Another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. And breathing 1. Inhale, stand up tall, and exhale, step that right foot back and step your left foot forward. Flexing the left foot, bending the back right knee, full breath in. And as you exhale, hinge forward from the hips, resting your hands on your thighs, enjoying a stretch down the back of the left leg as you breathe. Another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. One more full breath here. Inhale, stand up, and exhale, replace the left foot alongside the right. Now, continuing here, the third symptom that we're going to be tackling in this video is not back aches or leg cramps, but we're starting to focus on the front body. What do you do if your lower abdomen is feeling quite achy? So the first pose that we'll do to tackle lower abdomen ache is a standing pose. Standing here, we inhale our arms up toward the ceiling. And as we exhale, all we're gonna do is shift our weight to our right leg and extend our left leg behind us, pointing through that back toe. Now, if this isn't feeling so hot for your balance, you can take a variation of planting your fingers on the wall. And again, just extending that back toe. Breathing here, full deep breaths. For 4. And breathing 3, there's just such a sense of spaciousness, of length that's created. For 2, one more full breath in. With the exhale, return your left foot alongside your right. You can shake out the standing leg if needed, or already just inhale, extend that right leg away, pointing the toe. Breathing here, chest is opened. For 4. And breathing 3. For 2. One more full breath in. And with the exhale, release the right leg and return to standing. Now there's a second pose that we'll take today for relief of lower abdominal ache, and it's a reclined boat pose or side lying boat pose. So we can come to lay down on the mat on our side. So you can start out laying on your left side and just hanging out here with your left elbow underneath your left shoulder or whatever feels good. And all we're gonna do is we draw that right knee into the chest and we begin to lengthen that right leg. You can hold behind the right thigh, behind the right calf. Maybe some of you who've been practicing yoga for a while or are naturally more flexible will comfortably hold that big toe. And breathing here, we're lengthening through the torso at the same time as we lengthen through that lifted right leg. For 4. And breathing 3. For 2. One more full breath in. With the exhale, you can hug that right knee into the chest and then release it. Coming back up onto your hands, bending your knees, let's release our legs to the second side. So now we're laying on the right elbow. Our legs are long. We're propped up here. Maybe there's space between the right shoulder and the right ear. And we hug our left knee into our chest. So I'm hugging here. I'm extending that left leg, and I'm either supporting from behind the thigh, the calf, or wrapping fingers around the big toe, creating a sense of lengthening and expansion. As we breathe, 4. And breathing 3. For 2. One more full breath in. Exhale, hug that left knee into the chest. And releasing the leg, use your hands to gently guide yourself back to a seated position. And you can come to sit cross-legged. You may find it more comfortable to sit up on a block, on a blanket. So if so, grab your nearest prop and put it underneath your sit bones. All right, we got 2 categories left in this video for symptom relief. So our 4th category is swelling. What do you do when you have swelling hands and swelling feet? And so the first thing we're going to do, very, very simple, just some gentle wrist circles. So sitting in a comfortable cross-legged position. You can also be sitting in a chair if sitting on a mat doesn't feel so good for you right now. And breathing here, we're just going to start circling the wrists. Doesn't matter what direction you start with, I'm circling them away from one another. You can close your eyes and be with your breath for 5. And breathing 4. For 3. And breathing 2. And 1, reversing the direction of the circling. So I'm now bringing my fingers toward one another for another 4. And 3. Another 2. And 1. Beautiful. Releasing the hands. We take the same practice, but with ankle circles. So again, you can sit here with your legs extended in front of you, or you might find it comfortable to sit up on a chair, whatever feels good for you. Hands resting on the thighs, starting to rotate those ankles, making circles like we're drawing circles with our feet. Close your eyes, just focus on breath and sensation. For 4. And breathing 3. For 2. And breathing 1, reversing the direction. Breathing 4. And 3. Breathing 2. And 1. Beautiful. Okay, we got one more pose in this category for swelling. I'm trying to keep it simple. There really are multiple yoga poses that can help relieve each symptom, but I just kind of handpicked 2 or 3 for each category in these videos so that it didn't become way too long. Okay, the next one is super awesome. Get ready for something really, really delicious. Wallflower. What is wallflower? We are basically laying on our back. We are propping our legs up on the wall. You can create a little bit of an incline for yourself if you're end of 2nd trimester or 3rd trimester, so you're not laying flat on your back, whatever feels good for you. And let's get our wallflower set up. I will mention a gentle variation on wallflower is laying on your back, put a pillow underneath your bum, and rest your feet on the chair. So I can demo both versions. I'll kind of hop to one side of the mat and then hop to the other. But choosing whatever works for you. We're laying here, bringing your sit bones as close as you can to the wall. You can let your legs just slightly separate to create space for a baby and rest your hands on your tummy. This may feel great. If so, awesome. Breathe here. Now the variation. Boom, boom, boom. If you would like to have a little bit of a gentler experience for the back or less direct weight and pressure, then you can take the variation here. Placing a blanket, a bolster, a cushion, whatever it is, underneath your sacrum. You can just think kind of underneath your bum. Resting your legs on the chair. And lay on down. Oh, this one feels extra good for me. Yeah. So breathing where you are. Again, just giving yourself this moment of relief for any potential foot or ankle swelling. As you breathe, another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. And breathing 1. And because wallflower is so delicious, I've picked it out a second time for our 5th and final category. So you can stay here with me because the next category is varicose veins. And this same pose, either wallflower or supported wallflower on a chair, this same pose is very helpful when dealing with the symptom of varicose veins. So let's breathe together for another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. One more full deep breath. Whether your legs are at the wall or your legs are on a chair, you can start to bring your knees toward your chest, letting your knees bend, releasing your hands, and just simply slowly rolling over toward your side and coming back up to a seated position. Now we'll explore just one more pose today for varicose vein relief, which is hero's pose or supported hero's pose. So you can take a blanket, a pillow, a block, whatever feels good. And in hero's pose, we're going to be resting on our shins. That's the front of our leg, the front of our calf. And you can just place your blocks, your blankets, whatever you got, between the legs, just sitting your sit bones down on them, resting palms facing up, rolling shoulders back and down, eyes closed, sitting here, just letting yourself feel good. Full deep breaths, another 4. And breathing 3. Another 2. One more full deep breath. If this position feels good for you, please stay here. Breathe here, meditate for a minute, connect with yourself, connect with your baby. Of course, for every symptom, there's so many different ways to tackle it. I know a lot of my friends who are pregnant mamas found compression stockings also very helpful for varicose veins. But otherwise, that brings this video, aches, pains, varicose veins, to a close. 5 symptoms, each with 2 or 3 different yoga poses that I really hope will provide relief and help you feel even better in your body. Let me know what works for you. I'd love to hear from you if you want to leave a little note down in the comment section below. And as always, the light in me sees and honors the light in each of you mamas. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.